What we might do first is get Jamie Rogers up from the tab to give us a market update for the Crown Oaks, where it looks like, even I can read that, $5 a field, Jamie. What's happening?
Thank you. Yeah, well, we're certainly in for a great race, and it's very even, the field. We're not seeing the superstars like we have in the past with Miss Finland or Samantha Miss, and it's very evident in the betting where you can see there's three favourites. We've got Crafty, Lumosty and Go Indigo, all there at $5. And an interesting stat is the past 9, out of the last 11 Crown Oaks, the past 9 have been favourite winners. So it means if history suggests that one of these three favourites will go on to win. So Crafty is yet to find a win in her spring campaign. And Lumosty has been an interesting one, seems to have a similar preparation this spring compared to the Machine. And Go Indigo, we had Chad Schofield come and talk to us all, and he was very, very confident about the horse. So very, very interesting there. But the biggest mover has been Imperial Lass after the barrier draw. We saw quite a good support come in for her. She was $36, now they're into $26. So we'll see a lot more movement coming through over the next few hours, but this is the market as it stands. Thank you.
That's Jamie Rogers. Would you welcome up some of our players in the Oaks tomorrow, primarily Robert Smerdon. Come up, Robert. Along with Hugh Bowman and Jason Warren. And Nick Hall will be joining us at his leisure. I thought, just without being political, boys, just before we start, just perhaps a horseman's view on some comments which have been made after yesterday's issues at Flemington. Robert, I wonder if you'd like to respond on behalf of yourself or racing with a view on some of the air given to some protesters after yesterday's tragic...
In relation to Admire Acti?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's an unfortunate event. When you're dealing with animals, you encounter these sort of experiences. They're not pleasant, but I think that a lot of emphasis has been put there that they blow it out of proportion. I think it's such a very, very minimal occurrence that unfortunately happened on a big stage with a main player. But I think a lot of people use that to run with it and make more of it than what it really is.
Would you agree with that, Jason?
Absolutely, Bruce. These horses are very well looked after, as everyone in the industry well knows, and everyone involved would have been very much shattered, and our hearts go out to the connections involved.
Hugh, you got a thought as a jockey coming back? We saw what happened with Dwayne Dunn yesterday, and the crowd obviously very close. So mindful of that when you're coming back, and distractions to horses.
You are. It's never ideal, but same thing. A lot of the people in the crowd really don't understand the way horses react at different things, and people that don't work with horses don't really understand how they can behave. And obviously, I didn't see what happened. I didn't know anything had happened until I was back in the jockey's room. But it's one of those things.
Okay, let's move on to the Oaks. Robert, well done to you to get 3 fillies into the Oaks when spring started for you with your bunch of 3-year-old females. Was this the target for the 3 of them, or do you think you would get there?
Well, we have these aspirations for a lot of our 3-year-olds to go to derbies and Oaks, and the noms close early, so you enter a lot of horses in there with the hope and expectation, but along the way, a lot of them fall short of the aim, or you just don't measure up to what they need to be. So it's a bit unique to have 3 horses that continued through, have trained on, and have arrived here in fit and well and earning their place in the field. And
perhaps at various ends of the scale, you've got Fontein Ruby, a $50,000 horse syndicated with a huge bunch of owners. You've got Sheikh Fahad and Qatar Bloodstock with Crafty, and of course your great client Phil Sly with Lumosty. Interesting bunch of connections there.
Yeah, quite a range there, and different direction of ownership. You've got a massive number in Fontein Ruby, and she demonstrates the opportunity for the average person to be involved in a nice horse. And of course, Qatar Bloodstock are big players worldwide, and Phil's a big client of mine. So there is a real mix there.
Seems a big market discrepancy between Crafty, Lumosty and Fontein Ruby, who technically, if you just read form, has got the wood on Crafty so far, albeit going to 2,500 tomorrow.
Yeah, she beat Crafty they met twice. The last 2 meetings, she's beat her narrowly, but beaten her nonetheless. And I suppose off the back of her run on Saturday, where she was unplaced, she ran favourite and was unplaced in the Wakeful. She's lost a bit of market favour, but we were really happy with the way she's obviously since the race. And I think she worked fairly hard in the early stages. And then she got flushed out again early before the turn. But on the line, she was really strong. So it indicated to me the signs were there. She'll run the trip, and she's pleased us since. But yeah, she certainly shifted. If she doesn't run Saturday, I think her place in the market might have been different.
Okay. Crafty, interesting gear change. Bar plates off. Punters normally say bar plates on. That's a no. You put bar plates on and it worked, and now you're taking them off.
Yeah, she wore we only wear bar plates when we've got feet issues, and she suffers from sensitive heels, and that's why she really appreciates, or she handles wet tracks, but she really appreciates a bit of give in the ground. But her feet are as good now, or better now, than they've been through the whole preparation. So we made a decision on the weekend in consultation with the farrier and the vet that she'd be as effective, or she'd be cope in standard plates, and I think that's a plus.
Craig Williams off because of the relationship with Qatar have with Jamie Spencer. Have you had any correspondence there?
Yes, well, Jamie's number one for Qatar bloodstock around the world, and he's been to America last weekend riding the Breeders' Cup for them, and being a Group 1, he flies in and takes over.
And Lumosty, interesting campaign. It's been a catch up to some extent. You go straight from the mile to the 2500 of the Oaks, but Mulsheen was able to do something similar for you.
Yeah, not a classic preparation for an Oaks. Most of these runners have had a run over 2,000, and maybe she would have benefited from it, but she's fit. It really comes down, I think, to whether they run the trip or not. Nick Hall was confident. I mean, I was considering taking the blinkers back off her after Moonee Valley, but Nick didn't think they were an issue, and he said she just relaxes and switches off, and her temperament's one of her greatest attributes. So if she can run the trip, well, that's the question with all of them, I guess. But yeah, not a typical classic lead-up, I guess.
Okay, but if you could put them into order, if you could.
Well, Lumosty's got the better turn of foot. She's, the one filly we were thinking of, 1,000 guineas. Crafty's probably the one that's going to run the trip. She's got the pedigree and says she'll run 2,500, or should relish it, really. Fontein Ruby, she's exceeded our expectations all the way through, so you can't sort of write her off, but Lumosty's the one with the turn of foot that would separate them.
Okay, thanks to Robert. Huey, you're on Set Square, interesting pick-up ride. Nicole obviously rode the horse last time out. How'd that come about for you, that you get this ride for Kieran Maher?
Well, I actually rode for him in the Manhattan horse that I rode the day she won. So I rode her. I went to gallop him on the Saturday morning before that race, and galloped this filly that morning, and I was very pleased with her, obviously. But naturally, the reason I'm on her is because Nick Hall has chosen to ride the other filly, Robert's horse. So it's one of the bonuses of this time of year that obviously all the horses are aimed at the same races, and if they clash, you can lose rides and you can pick them up. So this is a nice pickup.
A bit like the Cup winner to some extent. It went into the Melbourne Cup at its 10th start. This goes into an Oaks first prep, 4th start in the race with a late entry fee. Should that be seen as a positive or a confident boost from the trainer?
Look, I don't know about those sorts of stats, but obviously she's obviously pleased Kieran throughout, and the riding was on the wall in the ethereal. She won and won well, and I'm inclined to think that that's going to be the form going into the Oaks myself. Obviously, Lumosty's got the brilliance, but the question mark, as Robert just pointed out, is the going from 1,600 metres to 2,500, and I think if it's a staying test, I think that'll really suit the filly I'm riding.
Do you think it need to be a true stayer to win the Oaks?
No, I don't. But I think this year's a strong year. I think those brilliant fillies can get away with it when they're because class factor will quite often takes them to that next level, and they can get away with it. Like Miss Finland, for instance. I mean, she wasn't a 1.5 mile horse, but she won easily because she was just too good. But I think this is probably the strongest Oaks we've seen, certainly since I've been riding down here, as far as depth goes. And I think it's probably one of the races of the week, to be honest.
Less pressure than riding Samantha Miss?
Yeah, there is. I mean, she was sort of my first headline horse coming into the Melbourne Spring Carnival, I think 2008. So she was my first Group 1 winner in Melbourne, and you know, I mean, she was an even money favourite. So the pressure's certainly different. But you know, although I'm not lining this filly up to her, I'm going into the race with a great deal of confidence.
Of course, you missed the first day. Enjoying Cup Week now that you're back in play?
Yeah, missing Derby Day was frustrating, to say the least, but I mean, it is what it is, and it was good to be back yesterday. Excellent, you know, it's always a great thrill to ride in the Melbourne Cup, and you know, yesterday was no different. The whole thing's a great experience, and having been there yesterday, it was good to be back on board, and I've got some nice rides tomorrow in the supporting races to the Oaks, and looking forward to it.
Good on you, Huey. Huey just said, Jason, that this is one of the best years he's seen for an Oaks, so you've decided to take it on with a maiden, Hipster girl. Might be a bit of an omen there for tomorrow for the for Girls' Day. But
yeah, certainly hope so, Bruce. Our filly's very much a roughie going into tomorrow. Not having won a maiden yet, but all her lead-up runs have been very, very good, and she snuck into the field, and we're in with a rough hope.
She had a tough run Saturday, drew bad, but didn't draw well tomorrow either.
Yeah, she hasn't drawn well tomorrow, but in saying that, we wore blinkers in our gear on Saturday, and she probably went a little bit fierce after being caught wide, and look, she pulled up very well after the run, and we're very happy to press on with her.
All of one campaign for this filly. Was it a target that she gets to tomorrow, or was it just fallen that way for you?
Look, it's fallen that way, Bruce, because she's continued to pull up so well after each run. She's very clean-winded, and she's now had 2 runs at 2,000 metres, even though she's not bred to get the trip. She's pulled up well and coped with her runs.
Can you make a positive case to think you're going to be competitive at the big odds tomorrow?
Yeah, look, I think we can run a place. There's a couple of fillies there that definitely look like they've got a much better turn of foot and can probably stay a bit better than us. But we're a rough place hope, I'd like to think.
All right, that's Hipster Girl. Nicole's just going to join us. Good to see. Hello, Nick. How are you? Good, mate. That's good. Bring a note or anything? Or?
I'm on.
Yeah. You're riding Lumosty for Robert, who's just given us a big push here. So it'll be brilliantly ridden tomorrow by Nicole. That's the plan, isn't it?
Of course.
Give us your insight into this filly.
Well, I thought she had a brilliant turn of foot when I rode her at the Valley, which is going to be really good up against these other staying types of fillies. And I mean, Robert's done this before with fillies. And I'd be guided very much by him, you know. I think he wouldn't be running her in this race, if he didn't think that she could stay.
But there was also a discussion between both you, re blinkers on, blinkers off, or blinkers staying on.
Yeah, there was a discussion. I think the blinkers have done a really, really good job with the filly, really sharpened her up. She obviously able to take a spot the other day, and she came back underneath me. And I give her a good rev up out of the gate, so I said just there's no worries there.
Do you think your greatest advantage going to this race tomorrow is acceleration against perhaps some fillies who might be found a bit dour?
Yeah, look, I think you've got to stay. It's 2,500 metres for sure, and that's always the question mark. But it's, if you've got a turn of foot, and you've got that on your side, it's always handy.
Going with any perceived plan from your draw?
I'd imagine we're going forward there with Fontein Ruby, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Enjoying the week so far?
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
Halfway through?
Yep.
Winners?
Yeah, got one winner, so happy there.
How tough was it? The jockeys' room was overflowing there yesterday, wasn't it? 52 jockeys, I think. We have to put 2 of them in the girls' room for the day.
Yeah, we put a couple of those internationals in the girls' room, Bruce.
Yeah, they ran 1-2 in the cup, though, didn't they? Armour and...
yeah, I might go in the girls' room.
A few of them might be back tomorrow, though, Nick. The rest of the week for you, what else are you looking forward to?
No, pretty quiet Emirates Day, I think. I've only got a few rides there, but I think Robert's other runner would be my best ride on Thursday. Shamo Win.
Yep.
Looks like a really good, nice race for it. And Rifleman back to 1,000 too.
I think was it 2 years ago this race, Robert? Shamar Win burst onto the scene. Was that this day?
Yeah, it was, Bruce. Yeah, she won the 3-year-old fillies. It was actually 1,200.
Yeah.
It's now 1,100. Yeah, that was her second start in the race, and she was an emphatic winner, and I think she ran quicker than the Coolmore on the Saturday.
She
so,
did.
yeah.
1,100 suits her now, doesn't it?
1,100 is ideal for her, yeah.
Okay. Thank all the boys for the Oaks. We'll get our Melbourne Cup conference going shortly, but they're available.